prince, brave and selfless, sets out on a quest to save his people, unaware that his greatest enemy is closer than he thinks, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the story of the spirit of Amaju, a village's choice. But beware, what you think you know is only the beginning. The village of Akonji, once a thriving kingdom surrounded by lush forests and towering mountains, had long been known for its peaceful way of life and strong connection to the land. King Okoro, a wise and just ruler, had reigned for many years, guiding the people through prosperity and peace. His son, Prince Onochie, was a symbol of hope for the future, his compassion and leadership skills already known throughout the kingdom. The villagers adored him, and he was seen not just as a prince, but as a protector of their way of life. But there were whispers in the village. Some spoke of the old legends, stories of a time when the spirits of the land had been angry and the forest of Amaju, deep and forbidden, was said to have a dark power that could only be quelled by sacrifice. These whispers were dismissed as mere stories until one fateful day when the village was plunged into darkness. A chilling wind swept across the land, colder than anything the villagers had ever felt. The rivers, which had long been the lifeblood of the kingdom, began to dry up. The crops withered, and the animals once abundant fell ill and died. But most devastating of all was the death of the firstborns, children, animals, and plants, all the firstborn of each living thing, withered and died in an instant. It was a sign that the spirits were angry and that the village's time of peace had come to an end. As the village reeled in horror, the elders gathered for an emergency council. At the head of the council sat the prophetess Nena, a wise woman who had long served as a bridge between the human world and the spiritual realm. After entering a trance, she came back with a grim revelation. The spirit of Amaju, the evil forest, has awakened. It demands a sacrifice. To restore balance, we must either give the life of Prince Onochie or send 10 villages to retrieve the egg of life and the water of life from the heart of Amaju, Nena declared. The council was divided. Some argued that Onochie's life should be sacrificed for the greater good, while others stood with him, believing in his noble sacrifice to restore peace. King Okoro's heart was torn. How could he choose between his only son and the life of his people? In the midst of the chaos, Onochie stood tall. I will go, he declared. I will retrieve the egg of life and the water of life. For Akonji, I will risk everything. As Onochie prepared for his journey into the unknown, there was another story unfolding within the kingdom. For years, Onochie had shared a bond with his childhood friend, Odira. The two were inseparable, both born in the same year and both trained by the elders to one day lead Akonji. But their bond ran deeper than mere friendship. Odira had harbored a secret love for Onochie, a love that had never been spoken aloud. He had always supported Onochie's future as the ruler, but in the quiet moments, Odira longed to confess his feelings, knowing that such love could never be reciprocated. Though he was loyal to Onochie, Odira struggled internally, battling between duty and desire. But his love for Onochie remained steadfast. And as Onochie prepared for the dangerous journey, Odira could no longer hide his emotions. I know this journey is dangerous, Odira confessed one evening, his voice shaking. But if something happens to you, Onochie, you have nothing to fear, Odira. Onochie interrupted, placing a hand on his friend's shoulder. I will return. I will come back and lead Akonji as my father would have wanted. You have my word. But Odira's heart ached as the words slipped away. In that moment, he realized that his love for Onochie would always remain unspoken, a silent devotion that would stay hidden in the shadows. While Onochie and his companions prepared for their journey into the heart of Amaju, a darker force stirred in the shadows of the kingdom. Okpara, a man once close to the royal family, harbored a deep resentment toward Onochie. Years ago, Okpara had been a trusted advisor to King Okoro, but over time he grew envious of the young prince's growing popularity. He believed that he, not Onochie, deserved the throne. Okpara had once attempted a coup to seize the throne, but his efforts were thwarted. Humiliated and exiled, he lived in the wilderness far from Akonji. But instead of giving up, he nurtured his anger and bitterness, fueling it with the knowledge that power could be claimed in different ways. When the strange calamities befell the village, Okpara saw his chance. The spirit of Amaju, a powerful and ancient force, had awakened once again. In secret, Okpara made a dark pact with the spirit, offering his soul in exchange for his aid in destroying the royal family. The spirit, hungry for power, agreed. Okpara's role was now clear: to ensure that Onochie would not return from the forest, thus ending the royal bloodline and paving the way for Okpara to take the throne. So plot 2, the conflict within the village. As Onochie's departure loomed closer, not everyone in the village was united. Tensions began to rise between the villagers. Some were suspicious of the royal family, believing that the calamities were a punishment for past sins. Others saw Onochie's mission as a reckless venture, with some even suggesting that the king and prince were hiding a darker secret, one that had led to the awakening of the spirit of Amaju. In the village square, a group of dissenters gathered, plotting behind the backs of the royal family. They whispered that King Okoro had brought the curse upon them by making deals with unknown spirits in the past. This conspiracy slowly spread, sowing discord among the villagers. Their once united front began to fracture as they wondered whether Onochie's journey would even solve the crisis, or if it was a trap orchestrated by the royal family itself. View: as Onochie and his companions journeyed deeper into Amaju, Okpara stood hidden in the shadows, watching with cold eyes. The forest was thick with a malevolent presence, a reflection of his own darkness. He felt the pull of power, the sweet taste of revenge that would soon be his. The prince had no idea that he was walking straight into a trap, one that Okpara had carefully set over many years. I was once a prince, Okpara whispered to himself as he watched Onochie's party from afar. I was once the favored son, but they all chose him. They gave him the throne. I will take it now, no matter the cost. In the distance, the spirit of Amaju, a being of darkness and shadow, waited patiently. It was bound to Okpara now, an extension of his own wrath. The village, the kingdom, even Onochie, none of them mattered. Okpara's only goal was power. The forest of Amaju was a realm unlike any other, filled with dangers that tested the resolve of Onochie and his companions. The trees here were ancient, their roots stretching deep into the earth, their branches clawing at the sky like the hands of forgotten spirits. The air was thick, heavy with the smell of decay, and the path ahead was fraught with peril. Stay close, Onochie warned, his voice firm as he led his companions through the dense underbrush. The deeper we go, the more dangerous this place becomes. But despite their preparation, the trials grew harder with each step. The ground beneath their feet became unstable, and strange creatures, beasts unlike anything they had ever seen, lurched from the shadows, attacking without warning. But through it all, Onochie's resolve remained unshaken. The forest tests us, Onochie said, his voice steady. We must endure. But even as they fought the dangers of the forest, Okpara's presence loomed over them. His pact with the spirit of Amaju began to take its toll. The very trees seemed to twist and change, making the path ahead even more treacherous. And soon, the forest would reveal its true power. At the heart of Amaju, Onochie faced the ultimate test, the spirit of Amaju itself. It was here that the truth was revealed. The spirit was not just a force of nature. It was a manifestation of Okpara's dark will. The spirit had been corrupted by Okpara's ambition, and now he saw the destruction of Onochie, the royal family, and all who stood in his way. You cannot defeat me, Onochie. The spirit roared, your bloodline ends here. But Onochie, undaunted by the horrors around him, fought back with everything he had. His bravery, combined with the strength of his companions, broke the hold the spirit had over the forest. As the spirit's power waned, Okpara's betrayal was exposed to the kingdom. The villagers, once deceived, turned against him, and his dark path was revealed. With the spirit vanquished and Okpara defeated, peace was restored to Akonji. Onochie, now the rightful ruler, ascended to the throne, his heart heavy with the burden of the trials he had faced. The kingdom had been saved, but the scars of the past remained. Onochie ruled with wisdom, never forgetting the lessons he had learned on his journey. And though the darkness had been banished, he knew that the spirits of Amaju would always linger in the shadows, a reminder of the price of power and ambition.